Well, I always talk about how the Hall of Famers are just different, and that's a perfect example right there. Chris Sale knew that we were really thin tonight in the bullpen, and so he puts a team on his back and throws a complete game shutout against the world champions. So enough said right there, but you know, I've talked about this guy all year and how special he is, and just a example 5,000 of why he's special. So you never think that scoring a run on the first pitch you see is gonna hold up, but what Sale on the mound it did, just an unbelievable performance.
Just to think about it, it's like you said, not only was this dominant, but it was almost like he knew he had 20 pitches through 20 innings, and you know, just early on, you had a feeling he might.
No, he was on a mission. You could see it. He was attacking from the first pitch, and not that he doesn't do that, but you could see he had a different look in his eye, and the look in his eye is always pretty good, but it was even a little bit different tonight, and. You know, he came off. I mean, I was planning on sending him back out for the ninth, but he came off after the eighth and said, "This is mine," you know, and yeah, just different.
Just the Shohei, the two strikeouts there. I mean, it makes him look silly with two sliders, but he also pumps at 101 miles per hour at 37 years old.
Yeah.
Another one at bat, I think it was 99.6. Yeah, just to think about what he's doing at this age.
Oh, it's absurd. He's throwing harder than he ever has at 37 years old, and you can make an argument as great a career as he's having. You know, he's as good now as he's ever been. It's mind-boggling.
Chris Sale's made no bones about that he doesn't shake his catcher. How much does this speak to the value that Drake Baldwin brings and the way they work together?
Yeah, look, I talked about it last night. That pitcher-catcher relationship, it has to be good, has to be special. Baldy has come such a long way in a short period of time. So much on a young catcher's plate these days. Like I said, they on top of all the game planning stuff and pitch framing and game calling, they got to be umpires now too. So with the ABS, so a lot on their plate. But yeah, Baldy, obviously, Chris has a lot of trust in him. You know, like he said, he never shakes. I mean, it's just amazing. You know, Chris never wants. There's never, even when an excuse is there for him, he never uses it. You know, and probably why he doesn't shake. He's just like, it's my job to execute pitches. And yeah.
You go out, you send him out there for the ninth. Things still get a little chaotic. The base.
Six-man rotation and the extra rest that goes along with it factor into your leash for him at all tonight?
Yeah, look, we've been finding ways to give him extra days, even when we had a five-man. But that was one of the purposes of a six-man. Not only Chris, but the other guys too. You know, and the other school of thought is we're trying to keep as many of these guys stretched out, because you never know what you're going to run into between now and October, or even in October, where we've seen guys get hurt, the pitchers late in the season or even in the playoffs, and so you want to have those other options, and so that's part of the reason why we're doing this too. But yeah, we're always looking to give him extra days so he can go out and do stuff like that, and you know, if he's on regular rest, it's probably tough for me to send him back out for the ninth.
Walt Weiss saying that Chris Sale was on a mission tonight, and it is mission complete as the 37-year-old throws a complete game shutout. And just a little tidbit,
not too often I'm rocking cleats in here, so.
But just kind of along those lines, I mean, the adrenaline is probably still pumping. How good are you feeling right now, and you know, about what you did tonight?
It was good. You know, to finish off you know, a sweep with a team like that, you know, coming back home. And, you know, I've said it 100 times this year, if I've said it at all. You know, our bullpen's done just an unbelievable job this year. They have picked up slack, you know, when we've needed them to, and they've shut the door time and time again. So, you know, anytime, you know, us as starters can give them a day off, it's huge for them.
did you have that mindset? I mean, I know you want to go as long as you can anytime, but was tonight even more, a little extra incentive to say, I'm going to go really as long as I can?
No, I mean, I think, I try to throw a complete game every time. I've never tried to give up a hit. I've never tried to give up a run. You know, I never like getting pulled out of the game. And, you know, after the 8th inning, I knew my pitch count was creeping up there, but, you know, 1-0 ball game. I knew I was, you know, just south of 100. So, you know, I just told Walt, I got this one. And, you know, tonight it worked out.
You've talked in the past about how much you love tight games like this, and tonight was as playoff atmosphere as it comes. I know during the moment you're focused on the game, but at any point were you just able to enjoy everything that was going on today?
I would say, you know, enjoy is a weird word to use while you're out there. I would say, you know, the adrenaline was there. You know, I felt the atmosphere. You know, our fans, you know, obviously show up time and time again, but, you know, tonight was a fun one. You know, running out there for the 9th inning, it was hard not to feel that energy, you know, pulsing through the stadium. So, obviously, you know, thankful for our fans. You know, creating an atmosphere like that, and, you know, thankful for Walt, you know, giving me a little bit longer leash than maybe he wanted to.
I guess you told Wiley it was kind of an emotional night for you too. Why was that?
Yeah, we lost a close family friend tonight. Her name was Ashley Foss. She was 42 years old. You know, just tough. She was battling for the longest time. So, you know, I was texting, you know, with her family today, and just. It's tough. She was a huge Braves fan. You know, she watched all these games. You know, it felt weird out there because you felt like I had a little something else helping me tonight. And, you know, there's no question. You know, that was her out there. So, you know, I love the Foss family. They've been in my life for almost 20 years now. They damn near run my life. So, very thankful for them. But my heart is definitely with them. And you know, this is a very tough time for their family. So
this was somebody maybe you met in Lakeland or FGS, you know, down there.
Yeah, in Lakeland. Yeah. So the Foss family, they're with my agency, the financial side of it. So you know, she's been there for forever. I've actually played golf with her before. She was awesome. So, you know, we lost a good one tonight.
You took them out knowing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I texted her dad. I know her brother and her dad the best. You know, and I shot them a message, and they texted me back, and you know that if you ever needed more incentive, that's all you're going to need right there.
And then I mean, you got all kind of adrenaline going. That's in your mind. You got Shohei there, 2 of your hardest thrown pitches since 2018. I mean, did you just feel that little bit of extra, you know, especially those 2 pitches right there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think, I mean, call it what it is. That guy's, he's doing stuff no one's ever seen. You know, he's, you know, tit for tat, he's probably the best I've ever seen. You know, and when you're facing the best, you got to bring your best. And, you know, tonight it worked out, you know, but, you know, you can't hang your hat on that kind of stuff, and you never anticipate or expect that because of who he is and you know, his talent and what he brings to the table. So, you know, this is a game of small battles, and you know, he's going to win some, I'm going to win some, but you know, when you got a guy like that, you got to, you know, step on the gas a little bit.
Back on the question, you used the in and out to Shohei and also upstairs, downstairs. Like, what was your game plan to him?
Well, just, you know, try to keep it out of the heart of the zone. You know, anytime, you know, I've seen him do some pretty massive damage. So, again, you know, just following Baldy's game plan. I felt like he did an unbelievable job of executing, knowing when to go, you know, 2-seam, knowing when to go 4-seam, you know, and mixing in my slider when I needed to. So, you know, credit to Baldy for getting me through that one, because, you know, again, yeah, I didn't do a whole lot before this game other than kind of stretch out and get ready for it. You know, he led me through that game and called every single pitch, and I mean, that was about as dialed in as I've been. So, you know, credit to him as well.
To defend his team.
Dave, you knew it was going to be a pitcher's duel tonight. What did you see from Yoshinobu as well as Chris Sale as they really went toe-to-toe tonight?
They went toe-to-toe. I thought Yoshi was great. Obviously, first pitch of the game, split, get a strike, and Baldwin hits a homer, and that's all they did to threaten, and that's baseball. But I think total body of work, Yoshi was fantastic. And just tonight, we ran into a buzzsaw. Chris Sale, I don't think he lost his last 3 decisions, and so he brought it tonight, and you can see the velocity, the slider, everything was working tonight, so he really couldn't threaten tonight. So it's just one of those games, but obviously, you get swept, so it stings a little bit more on the back end of losing 3 in a row. But it's baseball, and it's one of those things where, as I was thinking about it tonight, it's, the game tests you. And I think that this is one of those things that August is that third leg of a mile, and it's the hardest leg. And, we got to, get through it and grind. And there's a new series, a new team. We got Scuba going tomorrow. We just got to flush it. I wish we'd play better. I wish we'd have won the game. I wish we'd won the series. It didn't happen. But right now, there's nothing we can do but just go out there and keep trying to get better and win a baseball game. So it's going to be a quick turnaround. And like I said, we got to flush it and move on.
What significance should we give to a sweep by another playoff team?
Well, I think that you can see that, how they were playing prior to us, they brought it. I think offensively you could see the intensity. On the pitching side, you could see the intensity. And they were fighting for their lives. We're still all kind of jockeying for a position in the postseason. And, they brought that effort, that energy. And, I don't think, like I said before the series, regardless of how this series goes, it's not a tell on what's going to happen in the postseason. But they're a good ball club. And it's a team that, there's a chance we're going to see them again. And that's the intensity that they're going to bring, and we got to be ready for it.
They were 3 one-run games. Did the series feel that close?
It just seemed like, it did and it didn't. And obviously the scoreboard read that we lost 3 games by 1 run, but we just never took a lead, and it seemed like we were always chasing. And so that's something where, it's hard to play from behind. Your margins are much thinner, smaller, and when you don't capitalize on opportunities, then you come up on the short end. But like I said, they're a good ball club. They do things the right way, and we'll look forward to seeing them in October.
Probably kind of feels like the second or third time in the last couple months where you guys put together a good week and then maybe take a step backwards. How difficult is that to just kind of navigate as you go through a year? And how do you keep from letting frustration build after this kind of series coming off the week you guys just had?
Well, I think it just goes back to you just got to persevere. We got a good ball club. We've been through this before. Yeah, we win 6 in a row. You feel like you've got some traction. You've got some good things going, and then you get smacked in the face and you lose 3. But I do think that you hear the word resilience a lot. I do think our guys are resilient, and we didn't lay down. I like the at-bats, the fight. It just didn't happen. This guy was really good tonight. But now, we got the Tigers, who are kind of their last kind of fight to the end, and you got a team that we don't know very well. But, I expect us to come out and follow Tarek's fire, which he will have tomorrow night, and feed off of that. But, again, it's, all facets of the game. We got to catch it. We got to pitch it. We got to take good at-bats and then, see what happens.
Yoshi, it was really only that first pitch of the game that got you. What was it like going toe-to-toe with Chris Sale tonight?
最初の初球打たれたあそこがポイントだったんですけども、そういう中でクリスセール投手と投げ合うっていうのはどういう感じでしたか？
先制点だったり、なんていうんだろうな、そういったのはすごく大切になるなというのは、すごく意識してましたし、集中して試合には入りましたけど、初球をちょっと、甘くいったところを、いきなり、ホームラン打たれたので、すごく悔しいポイントになりました。
Because I know because he was going to be kind of neck and neck game, and he's a great pitcher, so I have to focus on my execution. Then, however, the first pitch, it kind of got away from me.
It's clear you made that adjustment very quickly after the first batter. How do you adjust, and how are you just navigating through a lineup when there's no room for error, but also when you know it's a pitcher's duel?
ゲーム全体通して1球の後、すごくうまくアジャスト調整できたと思うんですけども、その中で全体のその打線を相手にするにあたってどういう意識でしたか？
やっぱりすごくいい打線でしたし、チーム全体もすごく状態がいいのも分かってたので、気を引き締めて一人ずつ、投げていきました。
Yeah, because it's a great lineup. I knew that, so I just have to stay sharp the whole game.